president has announced something he's calling the Panican, which are Republicans who are panicking over the stock market. Now, you should know that this morning the stock market started in a bloodbath, and then several tweets came out suggesting Kevin Hassett had said President Trump was going to pause tariffs for 90 days, and the stock market skyrocketed into positive territory. The Dow went up in a matter of minutes, a 7% increase. It has now gone back down. All the markets are down right now. The Dow is down over 700 points. The NASDAQ down 184 points. The S&P 500 down 70 points. And it was down a lot lower than that before that tweet this morning. This is the third day. So if you read my morning piece, if you texted data to 33777, you subscribed, everybody, doesn't matter, paid, unpaid, gets my morning piece. I noted I had talked to an investor, a very prominent investor. You all see him on CNBC, and he told me what he was looking for today. He doesn't normally watch the day-to-day trends of the market, but we had a weekend. And the Thursday and Friday were panic-driven sell-offs due to the tariffs. And he said essentially that just wait and see, because over the weekend there would be time to assess and you would have a greater sense of things over the weekend. And if the market kind of wobbled a little bit, didn't move much, that was kind of a sign that people were starting to figure it out. If it went up, there was a sign the market saw light at the end of the tunnel. And if it went down further, markets believe doom is coming. Well, guess what? As of noon today, the markets believe doom is coming. And I kind of suspect the doom is coming. And now, why do I say that? Well, we'll get into the harbingers of what we're seeing out there right now that are a little bit concerning in the markets. So all that being said, however, we got some things to discuss out of the gate. I want to start here. For the sake of argument, and you all know I'm not a fan of tariffs. I don't think they work. I think they're economically regressive. But just for the sake of argument, listen to me and understand I'm talking to the people who believe the tariffs work. And I have a request. You've got to find a coherent argument to move us through this. Now, let me explain what I mean by coherent argument. Donald Trump's team says, what about tariffs? That we need tariffs to restore economic balance, to restore manufacturing to the United States, to provide increased revenue to the Treasury. Remember, $5 to $6 trillion in income, they say. If that's the case, we need tariffs to restore American manufacturing, reset the world trade balance, and boost revenue to the federal Treasury, to then say, but we're willing to have zero tariffs for free trade. Well, that then negates the restoring of manufacturing to the United States and the $5 to $6 trillion you say you're going to get with tariffs. So which is it? Do you want to restore manufacturing to the United States and have increased revenue from tariffs, or do you want zero tariffs and free trade? Because the truth of the matter is, and many of you are willing to believe the lie, and it is a lie, the truth of the matter is, in many cases, we had free trade. Take South Korea, for example. We had zero tariffs with South Korea on reciprocal trading. In Switzerland, 99% of all American goods had zero tariffs. With Australia, Australia is getting a 10% tariff, but we actually had a trade surplus with Australia, and Donald Trump told us the tariff was to fix a trade deficit. Well, if we have a trade surplus with Australia, why is there a tariff? And also, Australia and the United States have a reciprocal trade agreement where we already had free trade. We already had zero tariffs on each side. Now, if you want to believe the lie, I can't stop you from believing the lie. And just as there were a lot of Democrats who wanted to believe inflation wasn't their fault and inflation was transitory, there are a lot of partisans on the right who do want to believe the lies of the right. Politicians lie. Politician comes from Latin, poly meaning many, ticks meaning blood-sucking creatures. You have a lot of blood-sucking creatures out there who do lie to you on both sides of the aisle. I had somebody comment on an Instagram post this weekend while I was accurately explaining the tariffs. Well, the Treasury Secretary disagrees with you. I think I'll believe the Treasury Secretary. That's fine, but understand I don't carry water for anyone, and I don't have to toe a party line, and the Treasury Secretary has to toe the party line, even though the Treasury Secretary behind the scenes is trying to kill the tariffs. Publicly, Scott Bisson is saying a lot of great things, as is Kevin Hassett, about the tariffs, but behind the scenes, they want to kill the tariffs. Both of them are men who have written in the past about how bad tariffs are. So please, listen, for the sake of argument, let's acknowledge the tariffs are good, the tariffs are wonderful, the tariffs will restore manufacturing, the tariffs will drive up revenue to the Treasury. For the sake of argument, let's acknowledge all that. Now my point is just find consistency in the argument. What do I mean? Another example of this. On Thursday and Friday, the markets fell dramatically. We're now back to where the markets were in 2023. And a lot of people who lamented the market fall in 2022 when Biden was president, a lot of them, almost all of them, turned around and said, well, this isn't so bad. The markets are still higher than Joe Biden's crash in 22. Benny Johnson, the propagandist, did an entire monologue for people that their digital dollars were just digital. It didn't really matter. It matters a lot to people on the verge of retirement that their 401ks are falling. But to the young propagandists of the right, suddenly when Joe Biden was president, the markets fell, it was bad. But when Donald Trump is president, the markets fall, it's actually good, and the money's made up anyway. It's not really real. Find some consistency, please. That overwhelmingly is the problem here. Forget the tariffs. Take the tariffs out of the situation. I don't care whether you like the tariffs or hate the tariffs. It's the ability to plan and the certainty that's the problem. And the messages are so mixed as to what actually is, what are we trying to accomplish with the tariffs? Are we trying to accomplish free trade? Are we trying to accomplish fair trade? What exactly are we trying to accomplish? And if the tariffs are good and we need the tariffs, then why is there a rush among some within the administration to get to zero trade? Where is the balance? We've been told in the last several days we need to learn to live with less, be comfortable with less, your portfolio is not real. And the suffering is short-term. Now, here's the problem for the people who go with the suffering short-term, and this is part of President Trump's problem, is if the suffering is short-term, but that short-term is still a year or so, that's going to get the Democrats back into the House of Representatives for sure, and maybe the Senate, and certainly governors' mansions and state legislatures, and good luck to the president being able to accomplish his agenda from there. This morning on CNBC, CNN, and Fox News, half the Trump administration was saying that the president's willing to negotiate with countries and structure deals. The other half is saying no deals, it's going to be tariffs, tariffs are the way to go. Peter Navarro taking it's tariffs, tariffs are the way to go. Scott Bisson suggesting there could be deals cut. Kevin Hassett suggesting there could be deals worked. We've got to figure out this message. Can a deal be worked? Can there be negotiation, or is there going to be a tariff? I kind of suspect, I have a theory about what's going on. I think a lot of people in the Trump administration didn't appreciate the market reaction. Didn't think the market was going to react the way it has reacted. And now they're trying to not acknowledge that maybe they overplayed their hand, maybe they went too hard too fast. They're now trying to rationalize everything around them. And I think that's part of the problem. And when you have the Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary on the weekend shows disagreeing with each other on are the tariffs a negotiating tool or are the tariffs here for real and to stay, you cause uncertainty for businesses. So you've got to work out the messaging. Take me out of it, take my views out of it, take my opposition to tariffs out of it, and just acknowledge that when the Commerce Secretary and the Treasury Secretary are saying the opposite things, you have a problem. You're seeding confusion. Even the smallest business, let's take my business. My business has less than a half dozen employees. I got to have some certainty about the economy to plan for my next year, to be able to budget, to give pay raises, to plan for costs that we may incur. And I'm a very small business. Take Main Street, take your local Ace Hardware store. God bless them. Ace Hardwares are the greatest things. How many of their goods are imported? How many of their goods are domestic? Are the tariffs going to stick around? They got to figure out prices. They've got wages to make. They've got to pay people. What are the costs of doing business for the local hardware store going to be? How many of the products in the local hardware store are imported, and are they going to go up? Of the domestically produced products, how many have imported parts? So that cost is going to go up. Or take groceries. Just take groceries, for example. There is no American manufacturer of cinnamon. Americans eat a lot of cinnamon. My family, we make a lot of cinnamon rolls. People eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal. Cinnamon is a flavoring in a lot of things. Cinnamon cannot be produced in the United States. We don't have the tropical environment. So it's going to be 100% imported, which means it's going to be 100% put a tariff. And the same goes with black pepper. The same goes with coffee. The same goes with cumin. The same goes with coriander. A lot of spices we can't grow in the country. Herbs we can, thyme, oregano, basil. Many of us have those in our garden. The spices you can't get in this country. They're all subject to the tariff. The Trump administration didn't consider waiving a grocery tariff. So bananas, fruits that are imported from other countries, the consumer is going to be hit with those. You got to plan your family budget. Now the price of bananas is going to go up, and maybe not by much, but this is the thing. What the Biden administration was saying as well was that, well, yeah, prices for some things have gone up, but overall it's not that bad. That's what the Trump administration is now saying. Yeah, prices are going up, but it's not that bad. There's got to be some level of economic consistency, friends. There's got to be. You've got to find a message and stay on message. The Treasury Secretary and the Commerce Secretary, the Trade Representative, they're all talking past each other. The National Economic Council advisor, he's talking a different game as well. You've got 4 members of the cabinet, all with 4 separate messages on how the tariffs are working. Are they going to stay around? Are they a negotiating tool? Or are they a permanent thing? We need clarity for small business. We need clarity for big business, and we need clarity for families. It seems to me they rushed it. Now, I was woken up very early this morning and was told that we should expect this week the president will issue a pause on the tariffs. That rumor came out this morning and sent the market skyrocketing. And many of the people who on Thursday and Friday were saying the market falling is no big deal, those are fake numbers anyway, were cheering the rise of the market. If the numbers were fake, why cheer the rise after last week you said the dip wasn't bad? Again, the messaging even to the people who are out there trying to sell this for the president is so muddied, so confused. They've got to have some consistency, because the bottom line is just this. The business of America is business, and business needs some level of certainty. And when you've got 4 members of Trump's economic team talking past each other, confusing the situation, you don't have consistency and you don't have certainty. Businesses can't plan with that. And when businesses can't plan with that, they sit on the sidelines, they don't hire people, they make cuts, and they wait for clarity. And that wait for clarity could push us into a recession.